What's going on, guys? It's Kyle again with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today we are ready to do the full review of this guy. This is the Midgards-messer Bombur. That's how I'm saying it anyways. Super cool knife. You guys know that I've been kind of drooling over Midgards-messer stuff, and so this one and a few more might hit the channel. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back. So, before we actually get into this bad boy, I want to get into this bad boy. This is a box from Midgards-messer. I have, of course, the Viking, which we will see here in a minute as well. And now this guy, and the boxes they ship these in are really not great. White Mountain Knives, where you can actually go and get this. It says it's only got one in stock, so if you want to go, if you want to wait till my review's over, if you want to go right now to see if you can pick it up, they're about $299. There's only one left in stock, and that's basically the only place you can buy it is whitemountainknives.com. So I'll have a link down below. Go get it if you want it, because this is an awesome knife. However, the boxes they ship with are crap, apparently. So White Mountain Knives actually includes a Velcro pouch, excuse me. So that's pretty cool. I really dig that. Now, I wanted the boxes, the original boxes for these, and the certificate of authenticity, because this one was purchased by Kyle J. Lanphier, and he couldn't find the box or anything like that. And then this one was purchased off a dude on Reddit Knife Swap, and the box got damaged in a transit to him. So I'm super excited. I contacted them, told them the numbers of the knives, sent them pictures, make sure they were the right ones, and asked them if they could do that, and boom, it did cost me a little bit of money, but not much. So let's get into this. So it should be just a box of boxes. First, let me get into the little slip here, because this looks like a packing list. So we have box 2. It's all in German. So I don't know how to read this. Kevin left to EDC. He speaks German. But, what do we got? So we have, ooh, why do we have so many? Because I've only got 2 knives, and it's got basically the same stuff on every one of these, but there's like 4 pieces of paper. Interesting. I'll see if I can't find out more about that. It also has a label on this side. I think that's just a thing. So let's get into the box here. Boo, 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 boo. Ooh. Okay, so these are not crap boxes. Oh, this is badass. All right, so I have sweet certificate of authenticity now for the Viking. That's super freaking cool. And for the Bombur, I am stoked. These guys, you know, they didn't have to do this. Now, like I said, it did cost me a little bit of money, but it was super cheap. It had to go all the way from Germany. But, yeah, these actually say exactly what they are. That is freaking cool. And let me show you this. Boom! Look at that box. Now, these, they came in just really, really thin cardboard boxes. This right here is not such a thing. What is this? Look at this! Magnetic closure box for both of these. Okay. So I was really, I mean, it did cost me a little bit of money, but, you know, it was more than what a box cost, right? So I'm really, really stoked. These guys over there, Dirk Hofmeister, I think is how you pronounce his name, is, you know, a cool dude. I've actually reached out before and asked some questions. It's, you know, they are pretty good at interpreting, you know, it's German and English, but they were very responsive. They did really, really well. And so I could not be happier. When you contact a company and ask them kind of stuff, I think it's awesome. So I'm very happy with them over there. These boxes are so sweet. Really, really cool. So now I have some cool boxes to keep the certificate of authenticity in, as well as the knife if I have to do that. I just like having the original boxes. It's just my deal, right? Don't have to have it. But anyway, super freaking cool. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Awesome. So that's what was in there. Now, let's get to the review of the Bombur itself, shall we? This knife, obviously my second Midgards-messer knife. The first one is the big boy, the Viking. And I saw this knife, matter of fact, it was on the Apex Pass Around group from Kyle J. Lanfear. I got it in, and I begged him to sell it to me, and he did. So this is one of my favorite knives. It's just big, overbuilt, and ridiculous, right? That's what this is, but that's what I love about it. CPM D2, titanium, running on bearings. Action is awesome. Love this knife. So obviously, when I saw this one, the Bombur, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of a big fan of Midgards-messer now, so I would really like to check this out. Kevin, Lefty EDC, my brother, the guy's awesome. He's done this a couple of different times. If he knows I'm looking for a knife, he spends a lot more time on Knife Swap, Reddit Knife Swap than I do. And so he saw this pop up, and it was for a really good deal because the guy was like, look, I lost the box. I don't have this. So he sold it for a really good deal, and I appreciate him for that. And I jumped. I wanted it really, really bad. These, just like the Viking, are limited to 200 pieces. So you've only got 200 of these flying out there, which, you know, a lot of people love, a lot of people hate. It does add to the appeal to me. But the knife itself, guys, it's amazing. I did find out through Kevin Lefty EDC and a couple other people who had commented in my unboxing video that these knives, you know, they're a German company, German design by Dirk. However, they are made overseas by Concept. So I didn't realize that at the time. Concept has made some really cool products, and every time I've handled one of their knives, especially some of their premium stuff, they do a really good job. However, I think they did a better job with these than they do on some of the other stuff I've tried. The fit and finish on this guy is awesome. The action on this guy is awesome. So all around, do I care that it was made by Concept? No, I do not. It's one of those things where whenever I first heard that, I was like, oh, okay. Well, I thought it was German made. I thought they made it, but that was my mistake. Now, Dirk does make, if you go to the website, which I'll also have linked down below, he makes all the fixed blades. He's a fixed blade guy. And if you go and check some of his stuff out, it is ridiculous. They're like some really, really cool fixed blades. And they have another model coming out that I really, really want to get called the Valhalla. Now, you're talking about a big knife. Makes this one look tiny. Yeah, I know, right? But it looks cool, and I'm really thinking about trying to get on the pre-order when it is available. So, back to this guy. Sorry, I'm talking about just all things Midgards-messers. If you look at the profile of this knife, it's different, but it's just cool looking in my opinion. You've got titanium handles and some really cool milling patterns that are on there. Nice satin hardware. You have a really nice blade shape, drop point blade with a lot of belly out here to the tip. This looks straight, but it is just the ever so slightest recurve. And you know, guys, I don't really like recurves that much. However, this is so slight, there's not going to be any problem sharpening this when I have to do so, if I have to do so, because I got so many knives and I don't use my knives hard, even though this one, overbuilt badassery, can take a lot. So one of the things I love about this knife, because I like the bigger knives, guy, it's definitely smaller than this. It's smaller than the Midgards-messer, but it is still Midgards Viking, but it is still a larger knife that fits my hand size. So we'll talk about ergonomics since we're doing this. You have this original choil here, and then you do have some other swoops here for your fingers. That can usually be problematic for some people, but these are so slight. I just want to show you real fast what's going on with the Custom Knife Factory Evolution by Rotten Designs. This scares a lot of people having this much of a swoop, which this fits my hand perfectly, but it wouldn't fit everybody's hand perfectly. This, however, the fact that it's just very, very slight, I think wouldn't be a problem for most. I'm definitely going to send this over to Kevin left to EDC and have him try it out. I've got a few knives that I need to send to him. And then I'm hoping Jake will try it out because I think Jake will like this as well. He's not, huge on the big overbuilt kind of stuff, but I think this is one that he would like. He's saying he's not, but I still want to get it in his hands to see if I can change his mind. So ergonomically, with my forward finger there, and then my second finger, and then this little back swoop where it swells out, wrapping around here is very, very comfortable. Not only is it comfortable, but it locks me in. You'll notice that this doesn't have a forward finger troll, which I usually prefer. On this knife, I don't feel like I need it, so that's good. That means the ergos are comfortable enough and locking me in enough where I don't feel that I, have to choke up to be able to get cutting done. This one does an excellent job for that. Another part of the ergonomics and what I like about the blade is how far the jimping goes up, if I can get it to focus. The jimping is done very, very well because it does bite into your finger, but it is not aggressive, and it goes up all the way until the blade starts rounding off. I love that. I love that on a lot of knives. If you're going to have jimping on it, most knives start right back here. So for me, where my thumb lands, it's not, the jimping is here and my thumb is here. So this part of my thumb back here is all on that jimping to help give me a little bit of grip, index where I'm at. If it wasn't there, it would still be great, but I like it when jimping, if it is there, done well, and it is done very well. As you can see, full titanium construction. You have an insert, lock bar insert, that doubles as an over travel stop, all the stuff that you want to see in a knife. This price range, which is about $300. I think if you buy them directly from Germany, obviously it might be a little bit more expensive because of shipping and all that stuff. This one is number 67 of 200. There is your logo on this side, your logo on this side. The blade steel on this is CPM D2, just like on the Viking. CPM D2, I don't mind as a steel. It doesn't get me excited. However, I really didn't mind it on this one because Dirk is a huge fan of Medford knives. And you can kind of see the design element of this knife, very Medford-esque, right? And so, he was doing that kind of stuff. And with his design, CPM D2 on this knife, I think still makes sense. On this one and some of the other ones that are coming out, I would rather see a more upgradable steel. Not to say that CPM D2 is bad. CPM D2 is way better than regular Chinese D2. However, I'm not a metallurgist. It's just what I know, and it's very little. So I'm not, as concerned about it. I just wish I could see M390 or even S35VN on the blade. I think that would be cool, but it's not the end of the world. This knife is just sexy as hell, and so that's why I love to carry it. It has what is a very funky pocket clip. Look at that thing. That does not sit deep carry. As you can see, boom, that's where it's going to sit, and that's how much knife sticking out of your pocket. That's going to be a deal breaker for a lot of my viewers. Some of my viewers are like me, don't have to have their knives sit deep carry, and this one goes in and out of pocket really well. It works as a pocket clip. Now, it gives me enough room right there to grab and pull this thing out, which I enjoy. If it was, deep carry, it would be fine with me, but I just don't mind this. What I do mind is when people do funky pocket clips like this, and they don't function well as pocket clips. This one does. It looks cool, goes with the flow of the knife, and it works well as a pocket clip going in and out of pocket. So they did a good job there. Have a full titanium backspacer on this guy. I just think that's really cool. Yep, it adds weight, but I love the look between the blue anodization, the blasted titanium that's on this guy, wraps all the way around. As you can see there, the centering on this thing is spot on. The contouring on this knife, where the rounding is, we'll get a better look, I guess, when we flip the camera around, do some size comparison. Very well rounded all the way around this guy. There really isn't any hot spots. Like, there's no sharp edges anywhere. Right there, that's all nice and rounded. Even where the lock bar is, goes all the way up to that edge. That right there is the only spot that might be a little bit sharp. but there's not really a way to get around that. So I am cool, but it does have chamfering. Oh, so you see how it says chamfering all the way around there? Except for that one little spot. So they did everything that they could do to get this thing rounded off and chamfered in all the right places. Really, really nice. I love the ergonomics. The way that they have done this handle, I think, is spot on. Another thing I like about what they did is all the hardware on this thing is a T8. That's really nice. You don't have a T8. I mean, those are never deal breakers for me to have T6s and T8s because most knives have them. I just really appreciate it when everything on this knife takes one tool. That's awesome. Keep doing that. Knife makers, keep doing that. So, deployment. This thing is very fidgety. So you'll see you have a fuller, and just so you know, that's another thing that makes this blade really, really sexy to me is that fuller that goes all the way down. Ugh, I love that. I love a good fuller. But that right there is my preferred method of opening. But you're like, Kyle, it has a cutout there. Correct. And I can use that cutout to flick this knife open. However, this is kind of, during carrying it, this is how I like to deploy the knife. I use the fuller for the flick. I use the little hole for the thumb flick because it's actually in a good spot. I usually can't, like with a hole deployment, the thumb flick kind of gets me a little bit. Sometimes I'm not really good at it. But with this one, the thumb flick for this hole works amazing. So middle finger flick with a fuller, thumb flick with the hole, and then of course this jimping goes all the way up. It is not quite level with the blade, but this thing is actually really easy to front flip. So multiple different deployment methods make this thing, for me, a very fidgety knife. When I am sitting there on the couch, because look at the closing action. It is amazing. This thing has not backed out. There is absolutely no blade play. It is locked up rock solid. And with action like this, it's what I like. It's just what I like. The detent is not the strongest because I can whip it out like that, which I can whip out any knife if I give it enough wick. But because of the deployment methods, the middle finger flick and this hole, the way it's at, the detent, I think, was done correctly. If it was any stronger, it would be a little bit harder to do those deployment methods. So I'll give it a pass on that. It's not going to come out in regular use. So I don't worry about it opening up in my pocket, and you shouldn't either. However, if that's a thing for you, that's a thing for you. It does have a lanyard hole, very generous size lanyard hole. I don't put lanyard holes on knives like this. However, I can actually kind of see that they sell some, and there's really cool Viking looking beads. I don't know. It might be cool to put it on here. People are going to be like, you're not a lanyard guy. You're right, I'm not. But I've got lanyards on some things. And it would just be freaking cool to have a fucking big-ass, Viking head on a lanyard bead. I think it would be pretty cool. Kevin and Jake would be like, stupid. That's okay. So, yeah. It does have this slot right here. I mentioned that. See that little slot, little window right there? I'm not even sure why that's there. It's just a really cool design element. It actually does go all the way through that thick backspacer, and it's done very well. There's no like steps or anything that I can see from manufacturing. It's all flush and whatnot. The hole itself here in the blade has chamfering all the way around it. Just the fit and finish is amazing. So Concept did a great job on all of their Midgards products because this one's the same way. Very, very nice. I was a little nervous when I heard that, but I'm not anymore. Just from what I can see and touch and feel, I'm totally okay with it. Good job, Concept. Love it. So, yep, that is really about it. So let's go ahead and get a closer look, turn the camera around, and we'll get some size comparison of this bad boy because I think it's a perfect size for EDC. People are going to think me crazy, but I think it's a perfect size for EDC. So let's go ahead and we'll compare it to some of the maybe other bigger folders that I have, but parts that I use as an EDC that work amazingly, and get a better look at this beautiful Bombur. Skirt! All right, before we do that, I keep forgetting to do my cut test. because that is another amazing point on this. Is not just the fit and finish and the wonderful stone wash that they put on this blade. Sorry, guys, I'm just... the wonderful stone wash they put on these blades, but do they cut? I mean, that's a knife, right? So I got to show you that it cuts. It is seriously, but this, seriously, like 196,000 stick blade stock. Look at that. Look at that. It's thick. Still comes down to about 18 thousandths behind the edge. That's pretty impressive because the flat grind doesn't even go up but half of the blade. So that's pretty impressive, and, you know, does it cut? So we're going to do first a piece of paper, because why not? Oh. Oh. Yes, it cuts, and it cuts well. Let's do some of the tougher stuff. Let's do a couple of slices through the cardboard. What are we doing? Okay. Cuts well. When it gets, you know, behind up here where the fuller is, and then the thickness of the blade, you feel the resistance. I mean, that's just the nature of the beast when you have a thicker blade. And then, of course, you have a fuller that kind of causes friction, right? But it cuts. Definitely sharp. Let's do the paracord. Nothing. Absolutely right through it. Now, the twisted sisal rope. That always gives either me or a knife a hard time. Let's check this out. Let's see. So it did it. Definitely resistance. It slipped, but when it slipped, it cut it, and it cut it fine. You know, I got to watch more of like Cedric and Ada to find out about this stuff, edge geometry, what makes it harder for this stuff to cut. I mean, it's abrasive, that's for sure. It's definitely more abrasive. But anyway, I just like cutting, you know, the regular stuff and then using this as kind of a like, yeah, it's, you know, it's hard, right? So definitely cut through it. Not resistantless or anything like that, but it cut through it. And, you know, whenever a blade slices like this, of course, I just totally... Maybe after the twisted sisal rope, say, I mean, it cuts really cleanly. I mean, is it a slicer like maybe the TRM Atom or something? No, but it's just impressive to me with the thick slab of the CPM D2. You know, 190 thousandths. I think it does well. So now we'll turn the camera around, get some size comparisons. Alrighty, so get you a better look at the milling that's going on here. So you have these just little slots that are cut out, not too drastic. It's just enough to be able to give you a little bit of grip on your fingers here. I think it does an excellent job. That is not brought over on the other side, which is fine. If they were to do it, you know, they would have to do it just a little bit here and a little bit here, not where the pocket clip is. But I'm okay with them not. It would have been nice, though, to see it kind of continue on this side to be more symmetrical, but not a big deal. There's you a closer look at the pocket clip. Just a funky little thing, but executed really well. You see how they got the countersunk hole there where the button head screw is sitting below that surface. Very, very nice. I mean, this pocket clip is definitely more involved in its machining process than most of your pocket clips. There is your seam back there for your backspacer. Just an, you know, everything is seamless. Come on, camera, do it for me. Damn, having some trouble with which I always have trouble. I don't understand why this thing doesn't want to focus like this most of the time. Ugh. I love that, though. I love the full backspacer. It just gives it more of a beefy feel. Really, really dig it. There's your hardware. And then, of course, the beautiful blade. I am so impressed with this blade. Maybe one day this will help me. Jeez. Impressed. Love that stone wash. It's just amazing. Get you a closer look at the 67 of 200. Just love it, man. Another thing, which we will get into weight in a minute, see if you can actually see in there. Let me get a light. It actually has very extensive, see those pockets? Very extensive internal milling on both sides of the titanium scales. That's very refreshing to see. I know for a lot of people, because they look at this and think, oh my gosh, that thing's huge. It's a beast. But with that internal milling, not as bad as you would think on the weight, which we'll get to. Let's go ahead and get the specs at this beautiful dude. It is a total length of 8.27 inches. Right there in my wheelhouse. I love it. Maybe a little bit long for some people, but if you've got bigger hands like me and you like carrying these kind of knives, it's really, really nice. It does have a blade length of about 3.54 and a cutting edge of about the same, actually a little bit longer. It's about more like 4 inches, because you see, depending on how you measure it, you know, from here to here versus from here to back here. So you've got a lot of cutting edge. So it's close to 4 inches. You have a blade thickness of, like I said, 196 thousandths with 18 thousandths behind the edge, 18 to 19 thousandths behind the edge. And let's see how much it weighs. Let's just see. So big chunks of titanium CPM D2. I mean, the scale thicknesses, as you can see. So it's not going to be light. Not going to be light. Don't expect it to be. But with the internal milling, I don't think it's that bad. 7.35 ounces. I mean, I carry this, and this is like 12. So, not that bad. If you're looking for lightweight, this ain't your dude. But if you're looking at this knife, you think it's lightweight, something wrong with you. Let's go ahead and put it up against some other knives, shall we? So, first of all, I do want you to see what it looks like against something that is very EDC-able knife that everybody loves and enjoys, is the Spyderco PM2. Definitely a larger knife than the PM2, but it's not drastically, right? Definitely a wider blade. It's just a little bit more on the length of the blade, or the overall length. Is this right? Yeah, so just a little bit more. Definitely thicker, definitely heavier, but as you can see, not drastic, right? It's just not drastic, like, just for the hell of it, this guy, okay? So that's what it looks like next to the Viking. The #1 Viking, right? So, I mean, come on. This is Gargantuan Beast, so it's not that bad, right? Okay, some people it's going to be, but I love this knife. Let's go ahead and put it up against one of my favorite knives of all time, the CKF. Yes, I did it right. Haha, take that, Kevin. Custom Knife Factory Evolution 1.0. This is the bigger one. Very similar in size and thickness. You got contouring here. This is flat, so it's a little bit thicker here, but not by much. Very comparable as far as size is concerned. And then another look at the drastic finger grooves in the Evolution versus the slight finger grooves in the Bombur. So, like I said, don't let those finger grooves fool you or get you scared. This is a very comfortable knife, and I believe it will be comfortable for almost all hand sizes. Let's go ahead and put it up against one of my other favorites here. This is the Leon Mall Field Duty. You've been seeing this knife a lot. The review is to come on this beautiful bad boy, but as you can see, still very similar. The Leon Mall is actually just a hair bigger or longer. It's kind of hard to tell with the angle of the camera, but it's just a hair longer. Thickness, let's see about the thickness, because I think the Leon Mall is definitely thinner, but yeah, the Leon Mall is a lot thinner, see? So you're pretty thick this way. Let's see what we are this way, because I don't think I did that. So yeah, we're about 630 thousandths on the full thickness versus something like this, which is kind of hard to tell because it's a little bit fatter at the end, versus like 511. And then, you know, your typical PM2 is like 450. So it's a chunky boy. I like the chunky guys' knives. You know that. Fills out the hand really, really well. And it's just really well put together. I'm stoked about it. I'm so happy to have it in the collection. Dirk Hofmeister is doing an excellent job with his designs. He's got some more coming out. I'm really glad that he has decided to do this with the folders and not just do the fixed blades, because I think he's got an eye for it, guys. You know, at least for my taste, I love this knife. Very happy to have it in the collection, and I really appreciate you stopping by and checking it out with me. Guys, this channel has been so great. I love you all. Stay safe. in this crazy world that we are living in. And we will see you in the next one.